that the Minister for Public Service, the Honorable Muril Mukasa, did a good job in conducting us through the restructuring, the restructuring of the UNRA. He gave an elaborate structure of how UNRA will look like once rationalized into the Ministry of Works and Transport. The Honorable Musa Echwero also conducted us through the amendments that have been made to the bill. I want to take this opportunity to thank them so much for that good work done. However, there were certain issues that raised a lot of concern. The issue of the certificate of financial implication. In respect to the package that government plans to give out for the resettlement of the staff and officials of the Uganda National Roads Authority that have been or that will be affected by the RAPEX. The certificate of financial implications that the committee has seen since this issue of RAPEX came are so far three. The first certificate of financial implication that we saw had 11 billion earmarked for the resettlement of the staff of UNRA who are affected by RAPEX. Then yesterday, the Minister of Public Service came up with another certificate of implication, of financial implication, that puts the figure for resettlement of the UNRA staff affected by RAPEX to 46 billion. But then there was an earlier one that we also saw that indicated that the certificate of financial implication was projected at about 90 billion. But in the presentation of the Minister of State for Works and Transport, the Honorable Musa Echwero, he had indicated that they were earmarking about 196 billion for offsetting the resettlement package of the UNRA staff affected by RAPEX. And I remember during the debate of the ministerial policy statement, when we were scrutinizing the budget, the figure that was brought before the committee was at about 205 billion. So as a committee, we have been wondering why we have been having all these disparities in the figures that we now see contained in the different certificate of financial implications that we have seen. Well, the minister brought the last one, which they said is now the substantial one, at 46 billion. So we have been wondering, what kind of formula have they been using in computing these figures? Because today is a different figure, tomorrow is another figure, UNRA talks of a different figure, Minister of Works and Transport talks of a different figure, Minister of Public Service talks of a different figure. So the concern of the committee was how or which formula did they use for computing these figures? In her presentation, because we also gave the opportunity to the Executive Director of UNRA, Madam Helen Kajina, to also make a statement to the committee in respect to this RAPEX. So at the beginning, the Minister of Public Service, the Honorable Muril Mukasa, said they had consulted with UNRA, that they had also consulted with Minister of Works and Transport on the whole issue of this RAPEX of UNRA, most especially in respect to the resettlement package. But then when the Executive Director made her presentation, she said clearly that they were not consulted. They were not consulted. So it's like the Minister of Public Service sat, used their own formula, and came up with this figure without due consideration of the exact situation in UNRA, or without due consultation with UNRA and the UNRA management. Because we wanted to have an harmony in all this. We wanted to have an harmonious situation. We wanted to explore a middle ground as we try to identify how best the packages can be arrived at to resettle these UNRA staff. So the Executive Director said they were not consulted. And the figures that they had come up with was much, much, much higher than the 46 billion. So she has been wondering how this thing has been scaled down drastically. So as a committee, We want justice done for the UNRA staff. We are going to support the proposal by the executive to have UNRA and other entities rationalized into Ministry of Works and Transport. That is the wisdom of the executive. They have given their explanation, and as a committee, we are not going to go against the decision made by the executive. But of course, we shall also want to have a debate, a fair debate, and have a very honest conversation over these issues, most especially the issues of resettlement. We want justice for the staff of UNRA that have been rationalized, that have been affected by the RAPEX. Thank you.